Hello everybody, it's Troy here, and welcome back to the Castle of RotWK Match 2.2 version 7. Today we have a 1v1 on the forts of Isen. And our players today are Haku as Angmar, and his opponents, Dark as Mordor. Very nice. Dork, of course. Dork? Dark? Solus, he's also known. Or Maher, if you're an old boy. Used to go by Maher, of course. And Haku, of course, known as Pink, or Akito. Other names he goes by. But we're going to call him, of course, Haku and Solus for this one. Alright. So we got ourselves a Thrall Master coming out for Haku. Solus is going for a Haradrim Palace. Intriguing. Alrighty. You have no knowledge of this? I think it was uploaded by Aber. It's a neutral host game, I believe. Jesus Christ. There's a lot of observers in this one. But I'm assuming Aber is hosting this one. So I'm assuming you might have seen this on Aber's stream at one point. Maybe? If not, then you're in for something hopefully good. We have Haradrim Lancers coming out there. Not too quick though, of course, so he's going to take a bit of damage to his eco. As, of course, Haku is being aggressive AF, as you should be. And he's continuing to pump out thralls on one Hall of the King's Men here. And sitting on 3 mills, which seems to be working pretty well for him. There we go, the first battalions of Haradrim Lancers are at. One of the slaughterhouses has been taken out. But Solus should be able to stop any more harassment from happening from the Gundabad orcs, at least. Not from him, though! Oh, he's fucking dead. Never mind. And now Haku is going to creep some wargs, which is good. Since he's keeping Solus in his base, he has plenty of time to do a bit of creeping. So, very nice to do a little bit of that, in my opinion. Solus is going to go on the counterattack, though, it looks like. He's also going for Corsairs of Umbar. Oh, right, I was like, where the fuck do you get Corsairs of Umbar? I forgot that. Never mind. I was looking for a tavern. BFME2 player nubness. I haven't even played BFME2 in years, and I was looking for a tavern. What the hell? Okay, anyway. Corsairs are good, of course, because they're fast. They're also good against these Rudar Spearmen. And they can throw firebombs, which is pretty fun. They're a pretty solid swordsman unit, to be perfectly honest. They do alright. They should have, I would assume, win this battle. I think. They are in hold ground stance. Should be able to tank it. Of course, neither player having the host advantage means they're on even footing, which is always kind of interesting. I do like to see players play on neutral host as opposed to having one player be the host, because obviously the player who is hosting the match is going to have an advantage. So when you're seeing 2 good players playing on a neutral host, then you really get to see how they play in an environment where they're both on equal footing, which is pretty nice. That's why I think all tournaments should be played on a neutral host of some sort. Playing on my host like everyone is on host. Sure did ever. I would agree with you if it wasn't built into the game. It is a smooth host. Alright, we got Haku going for two halls now. Is the guy on the thing actually updated? Just bear with me here. What the fuck am I looking at? Weird. I am, of course, playing the HD edition of Rise of the Witch King, which is not available, but it does change the Dark Numenorian look. Maybe not the one up here? Is that what they always look like? I have no idea. Looks like he's missing his face. Anyway, back to the game. We have a couple of battalions of Axlors here, some Gundabad Orcs, and a bunch of pikes here for Haku. So let's go with the firebomb strats, which I do think is pretty good. Throwing a few firebombs and then going to melee there, as the fire is still doing damage. It's a pretty nice idea, actually. Just throw a few firebombs and then switch to melee. I like it. I like the Corsair play from Solus here. He doesn't have much else either. He's got a Horizon Palace and a work bit. He's not going for much. Just making use of what he has at the moment. He seems to be doing work. Oh, there's one. Gotta be careful not to get them trapped in there. I would say the forces of Haku are building up a bit. So Solus might be in a little bit of trouble here. But they are just thralls, after all. They're not particularly tanky, as you see there. Orc archers do a good job of killing them. Oof. Firebombs. Fire is so dangerous. It does a really good job there, killing things. And just like that, majority of... keep forgetting his fucking name. Haku's forces are dead. I keep wanting to call him Pink. Guess I could, but it's misleading in my community because I call someone else Pink. So I'm just not going to. Haku. Sure, I got it ingrained in my brain. Looks like Solus is just fine here. It's not too surprising. He has more than enough defense. Let's have a look at powers here while we're standing around. We got 7 power points in the bank. War Chant 3 or 46 or 600 for Haku, and then of course Solus has Eye of Sauron War Chant 2 power points for 326 of 425. So decently even in power points and stuff. Alrighty, Solus making a push here. There goes the War Chant on both people. Who will have the better engagement? I feel like the Orc archers are doing pretty well. Doing a lot of work. Meanwhile, Solus is using his cat to harass over there. And there's some stuff going on here as well. Haku's creeping that war glare. How good is the Axor damage against Corsairs? It's not super good, to be honest. These Corsairs hold ground stance with a buff on. They're tanking those axes pretty nicely. So I think... Of course, it's going to be harder for Solus to make any more ground here with just this, because he's standing in front of the barracks of Haku, which produces more troops. But he is bringing more troops forth. Haku bringing in the Wolf Riders. Very nice. A timely choice. Orc archers put a decent amount of damage out. They're not great. But, you know, they have numbers, I guess. But, of course, they're not very tanky. And once you get a cav unit on them, they splat. Like nobody's business. Haku's down here harassing the base of Solus again. Looks like Solus is able to defend that. Not too much trouble. This can go us over here. We now have 2 battalions of cav out for Haku. With his cav support, he should be able to do a lot better. Angmar Wolf Riders, not incredibly good. They're arguably one of the worst cav in the game, if not the worst cav in the game, but they still work. And they still very much will do damage. Just in a melee fight, they're not very good. It's a terrible armor. but they can get a pretty good trample off. It's gonna throw a little bit of a fork into the whole just Easterlings and Orcs. Easterling, of course, there's a Angmar and Orcs strat that Solus has got going, I feel like. He has indeed thrown the Easterling out there. He's throwing out a drummer, perhaps drummer trolls soon, from the troll cage he's building. Yeah, it looks like the majority of these Lancers are getting killed, but he's willing to sacrifice them, it looks like, to get that mill. And get that mill he has. He's also got those boys up there healing up. Very cheeky. Once you get the banner, if you can get them hidden and not micro them by accidents, then yeah, they'll become a full battalion of cav in no time. Which is always pretty good. We have... Huh! Mountain trolls coming out for Solus. That's not something you see every day. Feels weird, man. But also feels good, because you never see mountain trolls. I'm interested to see what he'll do with them. 99% of players would go straight for a Derma troll. Which is pretty sad, because the mountain troll has its uses. They're quite good. But of course, Derma trolls... I mean, they kind of do what a Derma... Like, a Derma troll does what they can do, but they have fear ability and leadership. They're just better. I get it. But these would be better at melee, of course. And they can heal up on orcs, which is always nice. It's actually very powerful finding orc to eat, but not many players utilize it. But not many players build mountain trolls to begin with. Alright, Haku's base is fairly secure other than this Corsair battalion over here, which the War Fighters are being sent to deal with. Looks like we do have a white summon for Haku, and it looks like we have Industry for Solus there. And we have Fellwind as well for Haku, which will be pretty big at times. Yes! Lovely. I've always thought the Mountain Troll was a bit goofy looking with his fucking suspenders. I don't know. He has like a strange helmet and suspenders on. He looks kind of like a... You know. He looks weird. But we love him anyway. Okay. That's been cleared up. Look, Solus is really liking hiding these things in the top left corner there. It seems to be working for him too. Alright, there's the first drummer troll out. They can swat things around, of course, but they, of course, get a fear and leadership. Drummer trolls are just really good. If you're not getting drummer trolls with Mordor, what are you doing with your life, really? They are the bee's knees. If bees had knees, if they do have knees, huh? I'm assuming that expression exists for a reason. Oh, please don't do that. Oh, that's not what you want. That could have been avoided. Well, I guess at the end of the day, it didn't do much. Alright, so let's make a push into Haku's base. And currently, Haku's armies are kind of all over the place. He's got stuff here, he's got stuff harassing souls over here, and there. Look at this, they're building farms together, isn't that adorable? Haku throwing down the Snowbind on his level 3 mill in the middle of his big barracks is a wise choice. You don't want to lose this building if possible. Any level 3 mill really you don't want to lose, but that's a good one to keep alive. And the arrow tower is continuing to shoot units also in a defensive manner. There's the Fellwind. Haku's committed to his attack, it looks like. He's not pulling troops back. He's going to try and deal with this with what he has. He is continuing to build Thrallmasters, and of course some Direwolves there as well. Direwolves would be great against these Easterlings, but not much else. I'm thinking he might need to pull some troops back, unless Solus doesn't decide to engage with a small amount of troops. Look how long it's taking this arrow tower to kill a buffed Corsair. Fortunately for the Corsairs, they're all at low health now, so it's not going to take much longer. Solus is he's going to try and get this, and I think he'll succeed because there's not much to stop him. Solus is using Drummer Trolls in a defensive manner here. Oh, he should use his Fear ability before he loses his Drummer Troll. Nah. There you go. There's a Fear. It will, of course, make Haku's troops scatter around, which will make maybe, arguably, harder to defend. Solus is going heavy on the old Mountain Troll. Very curious. I like it, though. I like it. He got bit in the ass and he scratched his ass. I thought that was funny. Like, what was that? It's like a bee sting. What the fuck? Yikes. Alright. I'd say Haku's definitely lost momentum in this game a bit. He is still expanding nicely, though. He's got lots of farms. He does need to get his base back in order, though. He does have 2 Hall of King's Men now still, and he's continuing to get dire wolves and stuff. So I think he's stabilizing. And he'll be just fine. Because Solus doesn't really have an army to push with it as of yet. He does have Haradrim Archers, though, which is the beginning of the late game for Mordor, of course. Once you get lots of Haradrim Archers and Drummer Trolls, then you're in a good spot, usually. Which is what he's working towards. But he's also got all kinds of, like, trolls and stuff, which he's using to harass the base over here with. I'm not sure if Mountain Trolls heal passively at level... It's like 2 or whatever. I can't remember, to be honest. I'm sure they heal passively at some level. Maybe it's 3. But they, of course, have to be out of combat. Maybe they don't heal at all? How do I know? Ah, he's clumped them up with this barricade. And decided to throw the trolls in there. A nice play from Solus. And he managed to get the mill with it. Definitely the barricade showing its usefulness there. And now Solus is pushing in with the sizable force of Mordor stuff. While some dogs bite away at a mill over there. It's about all the damage that Haku is doing currently. If Solus goes for Drummer Troll, or not Drummer Troll, Attack Trolls and gets to level 2, he could of course take control. Never mind. Game over. Apparently Haku has GG'd. Very well. Well, that was a decent game. It started off strong, and then went pretty favorable into Solus's control of that game, I'd say. That's a lot quicker than I was anticipating, to be honest. Oh well.